Wait, I'm so excited to be here. So I'll introduce myself.
Okay.
I'm Crystal Koff. And by the way, I used to just call myself Crystal. And then all of a sudden I did Housewives and I had to become like a full name.
Right.
But I'm Crystal and
I am Cynthia Bailey, and I am a two-name kind of girl. Like no one calls me Cynthia. Everyone literally calls me Cynthia Bailey.
Well, I knew you as 50 Cent.
Well, that is my nickname, which I love.
It's
and I was
really
going to do
one.
like the 51 cent, 52 cent, but it didn't really work. So we just kept it at 50
By the way,
cent.
just stay at 50. I mean, that's a good number.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But I like to try to keep things going. But anyway, it didn't work out. So I am Cynthia Bailey, AKA 50 Cent. Yeah. And I am Crystal's partner
in life.
In life. Can't wait for you guys to find out how we actually came together. But this is Humble Brag.
That's right.
Hi, I'm Cynthia.
I'm Crystal. This is Humble Brag.
Humble Brag.
Humble Brag.
Oh, I have tea.
Once a housewife,
always a housewife. Can we say that again for the people in the back?
Humble Brag.
Humble Brag. Brag with us.
So I was thinking this is our first time really sitting down together and doing this. And obviously we've spoken many, many hundreds of hours together. We've been together for years now. But I thought this would be sort of like our origin story episode. And I think it's important that people know like why we're here together.
How the hell did we meet?
Right. Yes, because I think we're a little bit of the odd couple. That was another sort of concept.
Totally.
But I remember when I first started Housewives, so this was now 4 years ago to this week, which is weird.
4 years.
4 years ago for me. I know yours is like a lot longer.
Over a decade.
A decade. That's crazy. People would call me the Cynthia of Beverly Hills.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Who is this?
But
bitch?
like, what does that even mean? Because
I thought, okay, she must be amazing. Like she's so incredible.
I look at myself as classy, but sometimes
with a K,
in this arena that we have worked in for so long, classy kind of equals boring sometimes.
That's right. And by the way, at first I was like, oh God, I don't want to ever be labeled that. But
I didn't either.
Yeah. But then you start like really watching and how insanely messy and kind of sometimes awful these women can be.
Well, I didn't want to be labeled ratchet either.
Yeah.
Or
it's
horrible
a badge of,
or a villain or any of those things either. So
it's a badge of honor. I actually think.
I'll take.
Yes, it is. So I was introduced to you like in my mind because people would say you are the Cynthia of Beverly Hills. So I think it's important that people know how we met. So we met.
So you manifested me almost in a way.
I did. I longed for you. And I think so. We first met, which was like a random spark, via my friend who was hosting an event in LA at the Peninsula.
Okay, I was going to say the St. Regis, but it was the Peninsula.
It was the Peninsula. I remember seeing you across the room. It was like, the seas parted, right? And it's funny because I think of Humble Brag.
I'm friends with her.
Yeah, and I think of Humble Brag as like our love child now. So now we're here. But I saw you and I was thinking about this today of like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm going to sit down and do this podcast with Cynthia. And I saw you and we just started talking and you were so warm and you were so nice. And I had just done the show for a year and I felt like I was sort of a black sheep in the environment of Bravo. Like I didn't connect with anyone. I didn't like, you see people going to dinner all the time.
That's called first season.
But I was like, I don't know if I really belong here. And so I'm a very social person. Some people on the shows would say that I call myself a socialite. I'm going to own that. Okay?
You and your 14 friends who I think you were with when I met you.
Whoa. We were on there was
some of them
there was
the
breaking
14 friends?
So, oh man, we're already going to 14. Okay. So I'm going to do that whole story.
Okay.
That story is there.
Okay. So we'll circle back.
There's so much overlay. I'm from LA. Everyone knows each other. So that was intense. But when I saw you, I was like, I really like her. And I feel like this is the first person in this sort of Bravo sphere that I can connect with that I felt like I wasn't like, oh, hi, like coworker under the same umbrella. I'm like, oh, I could like hang out with her. And then we were like, let's get together. And I don't know if this is an LA thing. I don't know if it's like a big city thing or this is a global thing, but people say that all the time.
All the time.
Like, let's get together.
It's definitely it's for sure a LA thing. For sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm from here, so that's all I know.
Yeah.
So, but when I said it, it was very intentional. And, when I say it 90% of the time, it's not that it's to be like rude or like, I don't really want to see the person,
Right.
but there's only so much time you have. And it's like a nice thing
It's like
to
a
say.
courtesy. Like you say it, but you don't really actually want to see the person or have any intention of getting together with the person.
Well, now the people who we've said it to who
Yeah.
haven't gotten our text, like, okay. So, yeah, that's
Sorry.
But we immediately got together and, our love started to bloom.
Where was our first date?
Our first date was at Il Pistaio.
Wait. Oh
I
my
have
God.
very strong memories.
You remember everything.
But I don't. I'm like Dory. Like, I remember the moment, but like, I remember us being there and I remember exactly where I was sitting. I was facing south on Cannon.
Okay, now it's getting weird. I thought we actually hooked up. Like, not hooked up, but like at the Soul House for the first time.
That was after.
That was after.
Yeah,
so that was our second date.
That was our second date.
Okay, she didn't put out on the first date. That's why I don't remember
It's unmemorable. But no, I feel like that's a very LA thing to do, but we got together and I love that about you because, I was like, because some people say that to me, like, let's get together. And then you do this for 10 years.
Right.
I don't think it's a wonder why we ended up here. My question for you, so that's origin story of how we met. But I want to know your origin story about Housewives because you were on when it was like not even a thought in my mind that I'd be on. So like how it's been, you said over a decade.
Yes. 11 consistent seasons.
That's a long time.
Like no like back and forth, no breaks, no like housewife then a friend, just like housewife for 11 years.
Because I feel like for me, from beginning to now, 4 years, I've lost like 10 years of my life from it. So I don't know how like you're alive. And
no, it's like I feel like after doing Housewives, I could do anything, which is why I do everything. Like Big Brother, like I just can do. I'm like, just bring it, like whatever reality show. And I actually do well on reality shows by some miracle, even the competition ones. But
so how did you? Because everyone,
so how did I get on Housewives?
Yeah, everyone's story is so different.
Okay,
so I'm curious about yours.
So for me, I was dating my then boyfriend, Peter Thomas, which the crazy thing is his daughter is sitting right across from me right now. Portia Thomas, that's Peter's daughter.
Oh my God. Okay, I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's his oldest child. And we are like besties. Yeah. I like got her in the divorce.
Okay.
And anyway, long story short, I was dating Peter and I will always say long story short, but I can never tell a story short. Like I am
quite
the most
long-winded
person ever. So anyway, met Peter. He was living in Atlanta. I was living in New York City modeling. And we met through like a mutual friend and things started to become serious. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm a Pisces. I'm a lover of love. And I just
Do you lead with that? Are you like, you're like the astrology girl?
I am totally.
Okay.
Like there are certain signs that I won't date for sure. Like deal breaker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll get into
Okay, I want to hear that.
That's the astrology section that we'll do at some point. Anyway, so Peter was building a restaurant in Atlanta, and I was like, okay, yay, well, we're happy, I love you. So Noelle was like 8 at the time, and I was like, all right, what are we doing? So I was like, you can't move to New York, you have this restaurant. So I was like, you know what, I'll move to Atlanta.
That's serious.
I called Noelle's dad and was like, hey, do you mind if I take your child to Atlanta? I really like this guy. I'm in love with this guy, and I want to move to Atlanta.
And he was cool with it?
And he wasn't happy about it, but he was like, I'm like really, like the mom, I feel like always is the more dominant parent when it comes to like, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make sure she's good.
Yeah.
So, and he was like busy acting and traveling. So anyway, we moved to Atlanta, myself, Noelle, my nanny, Lydia from Trinidad, and we moved to Atlanta and it was crazy. It was crazy because I didn't know anything about the show. I definitely didn't, ever see myself on a reality show. Right. I was still, modeling pretty heavily. And
had Atlanta started already?
Yes, they were on season 2.
Okay, got it.
I started Atlanta season 3.
Okay.
And immediately, like soon as I moved to Atlanta, and Peter had like a cute little bachelor pad, and we all put like all Noel's toys, and we totally made it like this whole home. And he just started like immediately like, what is going on? Like, why are these people here? So I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, I don't even know if this is going to work.
But like, how did you get, how did that start?
How did what?
Like Housewives, like they're all
Housewives.
there?
Well, okay, I'm getting to that. I was kind of giving you a little bit of backdrop on the whole Peter thing. Because I immediately was like, why did I move to Atlanta? Anyway, so restaurant, Peter had some friends who were who were helping him with the restaurant, and they knew the people that were casting from Housewives. It was this girl, April Love, and Satchel Jester. And they would always ask Peter, like, hey, because they knew me from like modeling stuff. They were
Right.
like, would Cynthia ever do Housewives and whatever? And just kept asking me about it. I was like, no, I'm not really like conflict kind of girl. I'm not really about that drama. I don't want
Right.
the smoke. I don't want any of that stuff. And finally, he was like, just do an interview and see if you even could be interested. So an interview led to another interview, to a screen test, which I sucked at the screen test because they really wanted me to be like, my life with the whole modeling thing was like, I lived like a fab life in New York, but it
Yeah.
was just New York. I didn't look at it like it was a fab life. I was
Right.
just like,
Right.
it was just
That's
my
how
life.
New York is.
So when when you come in, I had to be like, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm Cynthia and I have a pretty cool life. They're like, no. You got to be like, hey, I've dated this person, that person,
Right.
and I'm here and I'm flying back and forth from Paris every day.
It's
so
very awkward.
I only wear
because,
this and that. So
by the way, that's the bragging part.
that's totally the bragging part.
It's very uncomfortable, but I think and we'll go to like the origin of the name of the show, but
yes.
like we live a life that, we think it's normal. And then when you actually say it out loud, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it sounds like we're bragging.
It's just like, and I hate it, but we just have to like own it because that's our life and it's fun and it's interesting.
Well, I mean,
I'm interested. I'm fully interested in your story, like how it happened.
Well, I totally like just let it all out. And I was like, hi, I'm just that and the other. I'm so great and whatever. And they were like, great. So anyway, that was the year that Phaedra Parks came on as well. So we came on together. And what they told me was,
I'm a massive Phaedra Parks fan.
Yeah, I just saw her on Dancing with the Stars. I actually went to Dancing with the Stars.
Amazing.
Yeah. She's hilarious.
So was Nene Leakes on the show already?
Nene was on the show already. Nene was the breakout star of the show.
Yeah, okay.
And as the audition process went on, they actually put me with Nene as her friend.
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't even know what that meant. But like, she was like the big star of the show. And I was like coming in new. And then what they told me at the time was that they were looking for one housewife and one friend. And Phaedra was like from Atlanta. And, she already was like funny and she was pregnant and had all stuff going on. And I was just kind of like, what's happening? So I was like, I'm definitely going to get that friend role for sure. If I even get that, because I did not know what I was doing. So anyway, they put me with Nene and she was just kind of like, okay, all right, whatever. Like literally, I was just like running up behind her, like, okay, I'm supposed to be your friend.
I just want to say something where it's like, this is a little BTS of the show. I think that we're obviously going to go through.
Why aren't you drinking your tequila? I'm the only one. And you brought it.
I finished it. No, I'm kidding. I think that's very fascinating for people to know that you were placed to be her friend. And this is where the show is a show and less reality how it starts. You become friends, you live your life with these people, but at the end of the day, it doesn't start that way.
Well, you have to you can't just pop out of thin air on the show. You have to be somehow placed or brought in by someone.
And it's very simple. They're always like, it's 1 or 2 episodes. We're just going to bring you in and you're going to be this person's friend. And then it's seamless. Like the audience just accepts that you're their friend, that you've been part of their lives. But what the audience doesn't really think about, it's like, you don't actually have dinner with the same 8 people every day for 5 months.
Yes.
Like that doesn't happen in real life. But for some reason, the audience just
no, they think that we hang out like all the time.
Yeah.
Like I could be traveling. They're like, hey, where's Phaedra? Where's Portia? I'm like, I don't know.
I know, we wrapped.
Where they are. We're not filming right now. I have no idea. But what was so funny about going back, to the whole process of connecting you with different castmates to bring you onto the show. With Nene, I felt like when I met her for the first time, they were like, just meet her at this restaurant. And I was like, okay, I'm driving over there. And she's such a huge personality.
Yeah.
And she was in her moment. So she was way bigger than life. And I was completely I had never met anyone like her before. And I was like, I don't think I said a word the whole time.
Wow.
So of course, I'm sure she went back and was like, she doesn't talk. So I don't think she's going to be a good fit. I mean, she talked the whole time, and she was super interesting. I was like, okay,
that
but
would
what
be
am I
a hard
supposed to say?
person to start with.
Literally, we sat down, we ordered some drinks, and I drank everything that was in front of me. I don't think I said 2 words, and she was like, okay, well, it's nice meeting you. And I didn't even realize I was actually being interviewed. They were like, you should meet Nene. And I was like, because they don't really tell you every single thing. So I was like, okay. And then I didn't hear from them for 2 or 3 weeks.
So this was a test.
Yeah, but I didn't really know it was a test.
Interesting.
They were like, you should just meet up with her.
Got it. But did you think you were actually on the show yet?
No, I had no idea what was happening. They just said I should meet up with her.
It's so different than mine.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So I met up with her, and then I didn't hear anything. And then I was like, well, hey, I wonder why they never called me back.
Right.
So then I called them. Okay. Which normally I'm like,
you're not supposed to do that.
Well. I was like, hey, what's happening? I didn't hear back from you guys. They were like, oh, well, how was your dinner with Nene? I was like, well, I don't know. Like, she just kind of talked, and I just listened and laughed because she's really funny, and that was it. And they were like, oh. And I was like, was I supposed to talk more?
Well, you clearly
was I supposed to
talked
have a bigger
enough.
personality?
So then what happened?
So then, by some miracle, I don't know, I ended up getting back in the fold again, and I started filming. And then when it was time to announce this on the show, storylines between Phaedra and I were so different, they decided to just say, forget it. We'll just make both of you guys.
Did you feel competition between you and Phaedra for the spot?
No, because I kind of felt like at that point I was kind of cool to be the friend, or even just like, I was like, all right, like just whatever. Like, I'll just be a friend. And then I thought in my mind, and then I can kind of learn what I'm doing as a friend first.
Okay,
and then jump into
like
the house.
A little bit into it.
Like I was fine with that.
Okay.
And Phaedra was like, had the most going on. She was pregnant. She was like, I don't know how many months I am. And da-da-da.
So they told you after you filmed?
Pretty much, yes. It was like, what I remember is like toward the end, they were like, we were doing the gallery shoots or whatever. And they were like, okay, they announced us all as housewives.
And did everyone from the season prior come back as a full-time?
No.
So was that a problem?
No. No, well, I literally, once they gave me Nene, that was where my loyalty was. So I was like friends. I was cool with the other ladies, but I was like totally like in Nene's
So you
land.
genuinely felt loyal to her because you had...
1,000%. 1,000%.
And was that good for you?
No, it was awful because they literally was like saying that I was her stalker. Like, you know how they like to throw the stalker thing. Like, oh my God, she's stalking Nene. She's obsessed. That's another housewife word. She's obsessed with me, as if.
That's annoying.
Anyway.
That's annoying. I know. That's all.
It's like, come on now. Obsessed is a really, really, really strong word.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of anything that I'm really obsessed with except sushi at this point, and probably my daughter for sure. But that's it. Yeah. I mean, it just ended up. Oh, yeah. They called me single black female.
Oh my God.
They were saying this in their interviews.
What the hell, really?
And this is when I did the friend contract. That was when that was introduced, which I thought was like the funniest joke. But like, let me back it up a little bit. So I thought when I went on the show, I was like, okay, I'm nice. I really am like a girl's girl. I love supporting other women. Like, they're going to love me. Like, I'm going to be best friends with all these ladies.
Honey,
like,
that's I walked in.
I'm going to be juggling my calendar trying to even squeeze these girls in.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to hang out with me all the time. Like, literally, not like that.
My line was, I am going to kill them with kindness.
I think I said something
equally as they are
dumb
not
like that for a show like this.
They are not like they.
Your kindness is your weakness.
That's right.
On reality TV.
But also, I think now that I'm on this side of it, like girls come in so hot. They are so desperate to be on the show. They want a storyline, all these things. So they're just always expecting the new girl to be like that. So when they see something nice, they then, at least in my situation, turns it into, oh, you're a manipulative, you're cold, you're. I'm like,
you're not emotionally available.
That's why I'm like, I'm actually trying to be nice here. Right. And they just don't believe it because they're just so on guard and they just assume the worst in everybody. So it's a very odd way to like develop friendships in a meaningful way because I just kept comparing it to my life with my friends. I was like, well, my friends don't do this. And I remember the producers kept saying,
the show.
Yeah. And they would say to me like, you have to stop saying you're off the show and on the show.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, but like we don't act like this. They're like, you have to like act like it's all the same.
Right.
And I'm like, well, no one's filming me and a random group of people every day. Like, that's
but like,
not normal.
Like in real life or like off the show with your girlfriends off the show, like say they text you and you don't respond right away, nobody cares. But say if you're filming and I text you, you don't respond right away, then I go to a whole lunch and go, I texted Crystal and she didn't respond.
That's right.
Like we can make everything
a thing.
Yeah.
But that's like the job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. And I think that's why there's always someone new and like they have to have the original cast members or people long-term because they know how it works. And then the newbies, it's like getting hazed.
Totally.
And they don't tell you what to do.
For me, like, okay, it was only 2 seasons of Housewives. And like normally, like now, after, it's been on for so long, the new girls can come in and be like, okay, who's the Cynthia Bailey type? Who's the Kenya Moore type? Who's the Phaedra type?
Yes.
Like, I didn't know who my person was to be like, oh, maybe I should kind of be like this person. Like, I was
you
the
started
person.
it.
I started the Cynthia
Yeah,
Bailey movement.
right.
And now it's like, oh, when other people do castings, because I know a lot of people that cast reality shows, they're like, okay, we need a Cynthia Bailey in the group. We need a Nene in the group. You know what I mean? It's like Sex in the City. You know, you
Right.
find your character.
Right. But I think that's why, I used to watch Housewives. I used to love the show. It started when I was in college.
Did you watch Atlanta?
I didn't watch that. I just watched OC.
What? You didn't watch Atlanta? Wow, we were only #1 forever.
I know, I'm sorry, but I actually only watched OC because I was in college.
You missed out on some good TV. I need you to go back and get those old episodes.
By
of
the way,
Atlanta.
I just told Rob today, I was like, I'm going to binge all of Atlanta.
You have to.
I'm going to
at least
do
start
it.
with season 3 where I start.
Yeah, that's the only important season.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to
I
actually
came
watch
on,
it. But I
yes.
used to watch it and love it and like just think it was all real. And, you know, it is real, but like it's.
No,
you know,
and you know what? Everyone always asks me, is it scripted or is it real?
that is the number one question.
It is.
Is it real
And
or
they
is it
still
not?
ask me that till this day.
Yeah.
And it is real. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
about Atlanta because I think every franchise is a little different.
It is
For us,
each one is different.
it is 1000% real.
Yeah.
However, they do put us in situations. Like, I wouldn't just normally go meet like Sheree for an ice cream out of nowhere, like at
Right.
3 in the afternoon.
This is how I describe it to people. So, is it real? I said, okay, we are animals. We are natural animals
Mhm.
in a zoo.
Right.
And
That sounds pretty accurate.
so we have to act natural in an unnatural environment.
right.
Be authentic in an inauthentic environment. I don't see the same people day in, day out, every morning till every night,
Mhm.
the same 8 girls every day. I just don't do that. And then you don't see them for 6 months.
Right.
And then like get paid to instigate conflict. But I remember they would just tell me like, be yourself, but just speak out loud. That's what they would tell me. I don't know if your producer said
And
that
how
to
did you do with that?
Not good. I did not like it because I'm polite and to them it was manipulative because when you get on the show, you actually see that. Like if you
Mhm.
withhold, but I'm like, I'm not going to say, oh, I think that's ugly. Or I'm not going to say, oh, I don't like I'm just polite. Like you just withhold things and then you like talk shit later. Like that's like normal behavior.
See, for me, I felt like with our group, we have a bunch of chatty patties.
Yeah.
So it's like if you put 6 women together, everyone's like, da, 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 like, so everyone is like going in. And I always am like, okay, well, let me let her speak.
But it was
and then
that
I will speak.
natural or was
let me let her speak and then I'll speak. But like normally the scene would be like, okay, well, it's a wrap. And you will have sat there and have said nothing. So now, anytime, as soon as we
Yes.
sit
you go
down,
in.
I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm literally like,
Right.
I will be speaking in this episode
Of
one
course,
way or the
because
other.
you watch it and you're like, my first season, I watched myself, was like, I had so much to say,
And
but
said
I didn't
nothing.
say it.
Right,
Yeah.
same.
But at the end of the day, like in real life, you don't actually have cameras referring back to a year prior, right?
Right.
So you're just like, you just withheld it. No one knows any different. That's how life works. But like, you're supposed to say out loud. So it's interesting watching. And I will say, now that I had done the show, I now say so much more than I would have said. And it's
Yeah.
actually benefited me. Like I would say that there's been a lot of lessons I've learned personally that's made me more direct. Because I'm like, look, once I say it out loud, like it or not, I've said it. So there's no question whether I'm manipulating. There's no question if I'm withholding. There's no question about any of it. It's like, this is how I feel, take it or leave it. And it can cause drama, but it causes a lot less drama than
Right.
finding out later, than talking shit behind someone's back, which is
No, you
sort of-
always have to kind of put it out there.
yeah. So I think
in
that's
their
like
face,
the benefit of
Because
it.
the other housewife thing is, well, why didn't you say it to her face? Why are you
Oh,
talking
yes.
about her behind her back? So,
Well, that's a very intentional thing though, because you say it out loud knowing that you're going to say it to her face later.
to her face.
Yeah. So like, if anyone actually thinks that you said it and like it's not going to air, that's not true.
But sometimes you don't get a chance to say it to their face. Sometimes you may say it out loud, and then the filming goes on,
yeah, but
and
you
then
know you
something
said
else
it out
happens,
loud.
and someone else talks to that person.
Right,
But you didn't
know
get a chance to say it to their face, and someone else tells them before you get a chance.
Well, then that person is a great housewife.
Exactly. Because they're like, oh, I'm going to run this back
Yeah.
right now before
right.
Crystal has a chance
That's
to
right.
really say it.
Yeah.
Because then they can hold you to the cross and be like, well,
That's right.
you were why were you talking crap about me? And,
Well, that was
you
my
didn't say it
first
to me."
season, was like, the producer would say, you need to tell blah, blah, blah that they said that. I was like, to me, if you're not on a show, that's gossip. But they
Right.
said, no. On this show, they've already said it on camera.
It's called securing your check.
Does it? So I was like, wait. So
Doing your job.
Yeah. So I always felt like so awkward because I was like, oh, like you, yeah, okay, I get it. And then when you watch it, you're like, oh, I get it. Because if someone tells you something, you don't share it, then you are now the asshole.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about behind the scenes. Do you guys call each other? Like if you have to like bring up something or something that's happening, are you in a conversation and someone else was not in that conversation? Do you guys call and say, hey, I was just filming with this one and that one?
That happened to me later. First season, I was on an island. I filmed, I went home, I talked to nobody. Everyone hated me for some, I didn't know what to do. And I think now I look back and it's like, it's because I was too afraid to be honest and direct because I was like trying to protect and withhold. And like, I just didn't know how it worked. You know, I was very, and I thought I did because I'm like married to a director. So, everything that Rob does is designed.
Right.
Like every blink of a character is designed. He says blink. For me, it was like, there were so many moving parts, so many things happening behind the scenes that filming that I didn't know. So I was like, I didn't know like what to do. All I know is that like I've been someone who's like a people pleaser and want to be liked and all these things. So I'm like, everything I'm doing is trying to be liked. And it's such a different experience when there's like multi cameras on you. And I was very confused. Once I developed genuine friendships, which takes a while, that's when I started getting the more like, how are we doing this and whatever. But I don't love like hurting people's feelings. I just can't.
No decent person does like that.
Honey, there's a lot of people that do. They are totally immune to
the
it.
housewife world, and the world in general.
Yes, but I actually don't think, I always like thought back. I would go home after I filmed it over the years. Like, I just look at them like, we're talking about origin story. Like, were they always like this or were they developed into this? Like these people?
Well, I got a chance to meet some of my cast their first season. And I will say there is no season like first season. And these women came on, as who they were, but they definitely evolved into their characters after a couple seasons, for sure.
They lose themselves.
A lot of them lose themselves,
that's
for sure.
And absolutely. I know that like, random fans will come into me like, you're my favorite character. Or I don't like, no one ever is like rude to your face. They always say that you're their favorite. But I'm like, oh, you're a character to them.
No. First of all, when it comes to the fans, and I love all of our fans, but I've been around my cast enough to know whoever they see in person is their favorite.
Yes, of course.
Period. Whoever is seated next to you watching What Happens Live, you're their favorite.
That's right.
Because they just want to be nice to you.
Because that's people being polite. Mm-hmm. But if they were on Housewives, they would say, you know what? You're my least favorite.
Exactly.
And these are the reasons why.
Not any of my fans have ever, not one fan has ever come up to me and said, hey, you're not my favorite, Cynthia.
That's right.
Actually, Portia is, but would you like to take a photo? Can I get this picture with you right quick? Yeah.
I would say, what is the most, like, if a fan comes up to you, the first line, what do they say to you?
You're my favorite. Oh my God, you're my favorite housewife.
You're my favorite.
I love
That's
you.
it.
How's Noelle?
For me,
where's Noelle?
Your pants weren't ugly. That's what I always get.
Oh my God. So what's that about? You
ugly leather pants.
Oh, so okay, I have to get that backstory.
We'll get all that.
Okay.
That was a lot.
Okay.
That was a lot.
But normally they're like pretty focused on just getting a photo. Like when they see
the
me.
photo. Yeah, I like that.
They have to say I'm their favorite, even if I'm not, just to get the picture.
So you said yes to the show.
I said yes. I said yes to the show.
Must have been what now? 12 years ago.
Oh my God. Yes. Over like 11 years ago.
Okay.
And it was life-changing. It was totally life-changing.
Of course.
We were totally losing everything. Like it felt like as soon as we signed on, like we started losing all our money. We were like in debt.
Really?
Oh, we were getting married. I got married my first season as well.
Okay.
And of course we
These
didn't
are all
have the money
spoilers
to
for you to
like
watch.
finish, paying off wedding. It was a mess. And
did you actually do the wedding on the show?
I did.
They say that's like a curse.
I got married underneath the belly of a dinosaur at the Fernbank Museum.
What?
Yes.
Did they pay for it?
And a platinum silver dress that was styled by Kite Brewster and designed by Ruben Singer.
Wow.
Who went on to style Beyonce later on, like a year later.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you look back, do you look at it fondly? Is it hard to look back? Like we're in a unique situation in which we can actually access our history in a very visceral, public way.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's still a bubble of our history, but getting married is a very real, authentic thing in your life.
1000%.
Most people, I imagine, who have been divorced, who are divorced, don't want to go back to those days. How do you feel about seeing those?
Well, with Peter specifically, we got married on the show. We started the show together. We got married on the show. We got divorced on the show. So that, and we were married for 8 years.
Oh,
So
cool.
we were on the show a lot. And as a matter of fact, Peter was like, at the time, Housewives for Atlanta, it was really more heavily focused on the women. But when Peter came into the mix, he got all up in the mix. And then they started focusing on the men more because Peter was definitely
a character.
He kept me in trouble all the time because he was go back and forth with the ladies.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And,
really?
He was that like by the end of it, he had his own trips and everything. Like Peter was definitely a very prominent housewife husband.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is what I implored Rob not to be.
Completely the opposite of what I went through.
Okay.
Peter was like all in it. Like they even like, they like joke around and like say he needs a peach and all this stuff. But going back to your question, how hard is it? For me, when I watch the show, I watch it one time, each episode one time, and I never watch it again. I think, when this is all done for me, maybe I'll go back and just watch it and be able to like not be so emotionally attached to it.
Sure.
But to be able to film it, because you live, as a housewife, you live it like 3 times. You live the experience of anything that you're going through at least 3 times because you have to film it.
Yeah.
That's part 1. Then it has to come out, and then you have to watch it with the world. That's part 2. And then you have to go to the reunion and deal with it all over again. So that's part 3.
Right.
And for me, it's just like I can only show up where I'm at. And if we're going broke, or if I'm sad, or if I'm stressed out about like whatever, like that's just how I start filming. Like I could never be like, okay, I'm going to pretend that I'm okay.
Right.
And whatever. Like I just really have always tried to be very authentic in who I am, which is just me. And I think that's something that I think people find me really relatable.
Did you find it scary or hard to like expose that you were struggling financially? Because I know on Beverly Hills, that's always a topic. Like there is you live here part-time. There's a lot of keeping up with the Joneses. And it's very stressful here financially. And I'm like, would I ever talk about that? So when I know that the girls on my show who are struggling, it's weird. I just say, like, now I'm like, stop myself. Like, it wasn't my place to say it, but it really, like, I was paid to say other people's financial situations, but like, I still wouldn't. So I'm wondering, like, how difficult was that for you? Because I don't know if I could have done that.
You know what? It was very difficult, but I felt like the only way I could do the show was just live in my truth. And it was just what was happening. And I didn't know how to there was no way to hide it because
it was out there.
Like we were really like, yeah. And at some point, I'm sure like certain things would even be public information. And our cast, they will check and do research.
They're like looking for you.
They would go look for stuff. Is their house going into foreclosure? Let's just call and see or check it out. Like they do their homework and they do their research. And I think for me, more than anything, although, it just was the unfortunate time that we happened to be coming on to national television, but it was like just in the group of women who like where the show is supposed to be about lifestyle and like, we are like so fabulous and we have our bags and shoes and Rolls Royces to talk about like not being able to pay for a wedding that you're planning.
Right.
It was
really
embarrassing.
real.
It was like a little embarrassing in that group because they didn't really give me a lot of grace. It wasn't like, oh, Cynthia, it'll be okay. It was kind of like, what is wrong with her? Like, why is she even getting married if she can't afford to?
So my question is, were they all doing well?
I think they were doing better than I was at the time, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. And if they weren't,
sometimes people are like,
if they weren't, they would have never shown that. I don't think they would have shown it.
Right.
And we chose to show it because I didn't know any other way to do it because I was really stressed out because we're really losing our butts.
Yeah. Wow. That's intense.
Yeah. But you know what? what ended up happening is I didn't even think we would get called back because it was like a mess. It
Right.
was just like we
Well, now you've
literally,
seen the show and you know they love
yeah,
a mess. So
I know.
you were like
Yeah.
shooting for the
And
next
that was just the
season.
marriage stuff. And then I was going through stuff with the friends on the show, with the ladies on the show, because I couldn't really connect with everyone because I was kind of like just really like connected to Nene. And
Yeah.
then they were like, pretty much calling me a stalker because I just was loyal to her. And
Wow.
then I did the friend contract, and then they called me even more of a stalker, and I was crazy. Like they were literally, I remember Kim like literally being in an interview, a confessional, saying, "What is wrong with her? Like, who does that? Who writes a friend contract?" And I was like, "It was a joke. I thought it was funny."
Oh,
Like I felt
those
like when you
confessionals.
come, and I didn't know we could be mean in confessionals. Like I didn't know we could be like, I didn't know that was our time because it doesn't come with the manual. This whole
Yes.
reality TV thing.
No,
So
it
I
does
didn't know that was
not.
my time to put my wig on, put my dress on, and go in on the other women. I
Right.
would just completely answer the questions, and if it was a question that I didn't like, I'd be like, I don't really feel comfortable answering
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I think she's really nice, because in person, everyone was nice to me. And then I watched the show and I was like, oh my God, they were all lighting me up
That's
like
so
every second.
I just wonder, like, the girls who are just so awful now, like, were they like that their first season? Or were they just like ready to go and they didn't care? Like, I was like that, and they would kind of feed me like, "Oh, you were feeling this way." I was like, "I was?" Like, I don't want to say that. And I remember my very first confessional was so like mean about Dorit. It's like, "Oh, I don't know you," or something like that. And I didn't create that. I didn't create that concept. I didn't like it was, kind of
Right.
guided.
Right.
And then I just sat there like crying. I was like, "Oh my God, I look like such an asshole." And then I called her and I said, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And she goes, "Oh gosh, I knew you didn't say it. I knew you didn't make that up."
Right.
So
Right.
like there is a space where we all understand what's
But
going on.
some of the ladies really do take it personally, though.
Well,
Some of
I
the
did.
things
A
that are
lot
said.
of it I did.
Yeah.
And you were talking about how
Like
you
my
only watched
feelings
it
were hurt a
once.
lot.
I haven't watched a third of the episodes till this day. I will not watch
Yeah.
them. I already know, like, I'll call the producer, like, when we're done airing and, like, filming, and I'll just, like, give me the episodes because, I'm sensitive, I can't
Right.
deal with, like, how if they're mean to me, and I'm like, "I won't watch them." And so they would give them to me.
Right.
"Don't watch
Right.
7 and 9." I'm like, "Okay," and
Oh my gosh.
I just didn't
Yeah.
watch them because yeah, it was too much. And then now, years later, I'm like, "Oh, who cares?"
Okay, so I think this is before you became a housewife. We used to have to film the episode, and then the show would come on, and then social media would drag us if they hated us, and they couldn't stand me for a season.
Of course,
And
normal.
but then even worse, we would have to then go do a blog,
Okay, so the girls on my show would tell me that they had to do that, and they said that
and
was the
then
worst.
we would go blog and tell like our side of everything. And when I tell you, it was so awful and mean spirited. The
Oh,
comments that
really?
we would get from the fans and stuff, like they finally. And then if you didn't do the blog, you couldn't get the episode to get the preview to see what was coming on. That would be
What?
their
They,
way,
like,
because
withheld it?
some of the girls were like, "I'm not doing the blog. It's too awful. It's too
Wow.
awful."
And it was
The
a blog,
responses.
like a video
We
blog?
would know. We would write in our stuff,
Oh,
send
like
it
a
in,
real blog?
a blog, and say, "Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I just want to talk about the scene with A, B, and
Oh
C,
my
da da
god.
da."
So it was like it was like the pre-after show.
Yeah, but there was no breaking the fourth wall during that time. So anything what they saw is how you had to respond to what
Right.
they saw. You can't say, "Oh, they took this out," or "Oh, this was edited this way." No. It was
Right.
like
You have to
if it
right.
what was shown is what the fans believed, and that was it. And you couldn't like make excuses
Oh,
or
that's rough.
yeah.
Like the after
And
show
then
is
it
rough for
finally
me.
stopped because like we were so like,
Yeah.
we hated doing it because it was so like
yeah. I would say
mean
that's
spirited. It was just
actually
not good for our mental. It was like, who wants to like have to be dragged on social media, then write a blog and be dragged on the blog,
yeah.
and then have to like show up and be excited about this.
Yes,
It's
I
crazy.
actually have heard that many times. Like, I'm so lucky I didn't have to go through that. But I obviously started during like social media craze, so like that was rough. It's all
Wow.
rough. I always say it's all rough.
I actually got on Instagram because I joined the show. I wasn't even on social media
Right.
until I joined Housewives, and
Wow.
I said, "Oh, you have to join social media."
Wow. So, okay, we'll wrap up your origin story about the show, but what is the biggest difference today than it was 11 years ago?
I know what I'm doing. I know, I'm more comfortable.
Yeah.
I know I have a lot of history with the ladies. I,
Yeah.
have a general idea what to expect. I don't take things that seriously.
So you have more fun with it.
I have a great time. I come back to Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16, which I think is going to debut next year sometime, early next year, as an official friend of the show. And I had the best time filming ever.
It's all about the friend.
Ever. Listen, the friend hustle is everything. Like, I used to look at, like, the friends of the show, like, okay. I always thought it was, like, easier for them because they don't have to really show their personal story and their
Yeah.
personal life. But when I tell you, especially for me at this point in my life, I've given everything.
Yeah.
2 marriages, 2 divorces. My child came out as fluid on the show. Like, I literally gave everything that was truly happening in my
Yeah.
life. And now I'm just at a point where, I love the show still. I love my fans. And I still, am excited to be a part of it in a friend way where I don't have to talk about anything that I don't want to.
Yeah.
But now it's like, now that I don't have to, sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I feel like talking about this now.
Well, that's
I feel
the
like talking about
space,
that
right?
because it's no pressure.
That's right.
It's,
That's right.
and that was just like, I just feel like sharing certain
Right.
things.
That is
And it's
a
great.
very different way than I started.
How did you start?
I think the story's always been mixed, like out there because of the way I like how they bring you onto the show, right? So
Right.
like Bravo wanted it to be like I came on with Kathy, and I did. I've known Kathy.
Why did I think you came on with Teddy?
So Teddy didn't film with me. So Teddy, I had started the show, and then Teddy was not on that season.
Okay, I met Teddy in the Big Brother house. That's how I know her.
Yes, yes. So Teddy is actually the reason why I'm on the show, though. So that's
Okay.
why you remember that.
Okay, explain.
So COVID lockdown was like mid-March 2020. And March 23rd, something like that, like a week or two later, I get a text from Teddy. Like,
How many seasons did Teddy do?
she did, I think 3.
Okay.
So the 3 before me, and then I did 3.
Okay.
So and I knew Teddy kind of just through mommy group, but we were never like friends. Like we just sort of knew each other. But like I would see her, like we had a lot of mutual friends. But she texted me like, "Are you interested?" And I knew what she meant. I wrote no. I just wrote no back. And
Why? Why did you shut it down immediately?
I was also like, it was literally a week or two into lockdown. I was sitting in the dark in my family room. Like it was just dire. I was like, okay, so we're just going to lose everything. Our home, the stock market crashed, like the world's imploding. It's the apocalypse. So I was like, I'm not going to film a reality show while the world is imploding.
Right.
Like this was not the right time, nor did I ever see myself on TV. I've been with Rob for 21 years. And like, if I wanted to be on TV, I would have been on TV. Like, I'm just not an actor. Like,
Right.
that's not who I am. So like everybody else,
So just to be clear, you have no interest in acting either?
No.
Oh, wow.
No,
Okay.
I just don't. I think it's actually the hardest job. Like
It really is.
it is
because
so hard.
I'm doing it now, and it is
It is-
like,
People
I
do
love
not
it,
appreciate
but it
how
is
hard
not
it is.
easy. This acting thing
No.
is not for the
So
weak.
like anytime Rob's on a movie, they need like a stand-in.
Mhm.
I'm literally like standing there sweating. I'm like, I need orange juice. I'm like such a diva. I'm psychotic because it is such hard work. And I don't even have a line. I just have to stand there. And I see the
you
camera.
have one job, stand.
I'm like, oh my God. And then like the camera was, I'm like, I need a fan because they don't put the air on because the sound, it's like
Right.
so hot. And like, no, if I wanted to act, I would have acted by now. It's not my thing, but I have a great appreciation for it.
Mhm.
So I just thought, she goes, it's not acting. I was like, I don't like, it's not for me. I'm not that person. And she goes, look, they've been like tracking you on social media. They're interested. Just take a call. I was like, okay, whatever. And I said to Rob, I'm like, oh my God, Teddy just called me and they want me to like take a call. And he goes, the world is ending. Like take a phone call because there's nothing to do for the next month.
Well, and you had time to take
We
the
thought
call.
lockdown was a month, but at this time, okay?
Clearly.
Yeah. So he's
Wasn't
like,
like your schedule was booked.
yeah, he's like, you have nothing
Yeah.
to do. So I was
Take
like,
the call.
fine.
So you took the call.
So I took a call and it was casting and I was like chatting and, like this, like an hour, like about your life. And she's like, I just can't believe you never came across my desk. I was like, I don't know, like whatever. And then I didn't get here from like a month. So I was like, okay, like it was over. I'm like, that was a fun exercise,
Right.
like whatever. The world is still like, over.
Right.
And then I got another call, like, can you jump on a Zoom? And I was like, oh shit, like I have to get on a Zoom. And I said to Rob, like, I should tell them I'm not doing it. He goes, you're never getting the show. Like, you don't even want to do it. So it's just like,
Rob.
yeah, he's just like, you will never get the
It's
show.
like, just get on the Zoom.
Yeah,
This is not going to happen
he's
for
like,
you.
you have nothing to do for the next
Right.
month. Just get on a Zoom. And he's like, you watch the show. You like, why don't you get some insider information about the show? He was more of like, learn about like a reality.
Right.
I was like, okay. So then I get on a Zoom and it was the casting and they're like, okay. And I don't hear from them for another month. I mean, so like your casting probably was a lot quicker, but this was COVID. Like they didn't even have a
I feel
schedule.
like it was kind of stretched out. I think I just gave you guys the quick
The quick
version, the
version.
long quick version.
Okay.
Of it. Yeah.
This was like, so soup to nuts was like 8 months.
Yeah.
A long-
Oh, wow. Okay. No, it was not that long.
It was 8
for
months.
Atlanta.
It was a long
No,
time.
that's
So
crazy.
I was like, okay. And it just kept going. And every time, like, Rob, like, I am literally like, this is inappropriate for me to take calls. I'm wasting their time. I'm not. And he's like, you're never getting it. Like, he's like, do you know how hard it is to get cast on something? Like, just keep going because you're bored.
Right.
So, and then all of a sudden they like, we want to come to your house. And I was like, why? And then fast forward, I will like a lot of these kinds of weird moments. I remember
That was your screen test.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was my screen
right.
test. And I knew it was a screen test.
So what was that scene like? What did you?
So I'm alone because it's COVID.
Right.
Deep COVID.
Oh,
Summer
yeah,
COVID.
yeah.
So
Got it.
I actually got tested every single day.
Every
for
day?
For 2 years. Every single day. Us and the whole family. Every morning they come and
Wow.
test. And they would drive around the nurse. And it was like just every single day. So I felt like invincible because
Right.
I was like, no.
And how many times did you actually get COVID?
I didn't get COVID until like 2 years later, like filming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when it first hit, you didn't get it?
No, never got it.
I think I got it before it even hit. Like, I felt like everyone started talking about it in January, February, and I got it that December.
Were you part of the Women's Cancer Research event by that time?
Yes.
Okay, that was like origin of LA.
Yes.
That party
Yes.
was like everyone started getting
Yes.
it. I didn't get it then.
Yes.
But no, I did not. And I don't get sick often, so I knew when I got it.
And oh, you know what? Fun fact. Well, not even a fun
You know, we were
fact.
talking
but
about COVID. God, that was like
I know.
what a
Oh
weird
my God.
era of
Thank
our
God
lives.
we are like hopefully completely out of it. But what was crazy was I remember going in January doing Watch What Happens Live with Andy.
Yeah.
And then he texted me and said, how are you feeling? So he had
Yeah.
it. And then I got tested for it.
And
then
you had
I
it.
think I had it or I didn't have it. I can't remember because I had it in, I could have given it to him actually.
Right. You never
I
know.
had it in December, 1000%. And then I felt like
That's
I did
early.
Watch What Happens Live in January. But I felt like maybe the time was too much in between for me to have given it to him. But that's when, and after that, that's when it all kicked
It went
off. Everything
crazy.
started shutting down.
Yeah.
But like, I felt like I may have done one of the last live, Watch What Happens Live when COVID happened. Because after that, the world just shut down.
I want to say Kathy and I were the first live audience after COVID.
Oh, wow.
And that was really weird. And it was all I knew.
I love her, by the way. I met her
I
at your birthday
know.
party.
I know.
And she is so funny.
So people actually want to know how I know Kathy because that's actually not a fake story. So it wasn't like, so anyways, let me just finish the
Okay, how did you
Teddy
get the
because it's
show?
very quick.
So you did the
anyways,
scene. They come to your house.
They came to my house and they made me do like yoga. It was really weird. So they brought my friend
Well, that's
in.
super
It's so-
dramatic. Great TV.
So like they're like, do yoga.
You're in there doing yoga. Like,
yeah.
okay, we can definitely tell if we want her to be on a
Yeah.
dramatic
They made
ass
me do
reality
They made
show
you like
now.
3 little scenes. And it was
Right.
like, oh,
But you're
play
by yourself all scenes because of COVID.
all by myself.
Okay, yoga. And what else did you have to do?
I had to play with my kids.
Okay.
And then I had to talk to Rob. And they wanted me to talk about like whatever was going on in the day. I'm like, there's absolutely nothing to do. So I was like, this is so, I will be honest. I didn't think of it as boring. I was just like, oh, this is what they wanted me to do. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So they left. I'm like, I'm never getting the show. Like, I don't want to do the show anyway. And then they called like, it was great. I was like, okay, like you guys have a very low bar. So fast forward, they call me on Zoom, of course. And they're like, can you jump on a Zoom? And I was at my girlfriend's house. And it was like 30 people from NBC. And they're like, you're that new housewife. I go, okay. And
Oh,
they said,
wow.
that's not
That's
the
how they did
reaction we wanted.
right.
And I was like, well, they're like, you're taking it, right? I was like, I don't know. And they're like, well,
So at this point, you don't even know how much you're getting paid. You don't know any of that stuff
no,
yet.
I know nothing.
You just have the
Yes.
offer.
I should have walked. I probably would have said no had I known how much we got paid. But
It's
it's a good show. By the way, if
literally an honorary.
if
My
that's
first
right.
season.
It's you really? Well, I've heard that actually. I heard.
I mean,
that.
it was
nothing.
like I won't even actually say it on here.
I know Orange
because
County
it
is
was-
free. It was a documentary.
Okay, it was not free, but it was
It's
close to
virtually free. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Orange
L-
County's free. The first season?
Yeah, because it was their first one. It was like a documentary.
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
the first ones.
I will tell you this, and I will tell you, I know that there's differences in each show.
Yeah.
My season was like, my first season was so little. I was like, I don't like the wardrobe. You know, people don't know this. We pay for wardrobe. We pay for
everything.
glam. We pay for the parties. We don't pay for cast trips.
No, not cast trips.
So people don't know that. People always wonder, like, oh, when you're inviting someone, they assign someone the trip.
Right. Do you get your glam done like for all the scenes and confessionals? Because I do my own glam a lot for like my day-to-day scenes.
They pay confessionals.
Yeah, they pay for confessionals, but they don't pay for your everyday scenes.
So
do you get glam for
I get glam for
everyday
like all cast events.
Okay, cast events, yeah, me too.
If it was day-to-day scene.
Like if you're like in the kitchen with Rob cooking or whatever.
I do it myself.
Okay.
Because I don't really care.
Okay.
And 30% of it gets cut out anyway. And the girls would tell me that. They're like, it's so much gets cut out. So like the girls were helpful day one. After day two, they just like were terrible to me. But day one, they were helpful. They said, track your clothes because when you watch the show, 30% gets cut out anyway. So you want to keep those outfits to wear again for another season. So I did that.
Yeah.
So I rewore outfits that didn't air. But yes, like people don't realize like my glam team costs more than like like the first season salary, which is fine. It's just, it is what it is.
My first season basically paid for my glam. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
And I was like totally at that point because we were having money issues. I was only shopping at like TJ Maxx and Marshalls at that point.
Well,
and I just wore a lot of black.
So the thing is with Beverly Hills is that the first season, oh God, and this is like a little bit of tea, but the first cast, I know.
Let me take a sip of my margarita.
The first cast trip was Tahoe, which was a very intense. It was my third day of filming, third day of ever being on television doing.
Who was the cast? Paint the picture. Your first season.
All right. I was
and then I got to tell you my cast first season.
Okay. I was introduced with Kathy. Kathy was my friend, and I've known Kathy at that time for 17 years. So Kathy's,
how did you know her?
So my husband's business partner, producing partner, Jason's wife, was Kathy's sister-in-law. She used to be married to Barry Hilton.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So Kathy and Kim both married like the Hilton brothers. Kim divorced, married Jason. They've been together 30 plus years, and they're our best friends.
Got it. Okay.
So since I met Rob, it was like Jason's my best friend. Get to know Kim. Kim became my best friend. We would hang out with like her ex-sister-in-law.
Okay.
So that was Kathy.
Got it.
That's how I met Kathy. I was like 22. I met Kathy.
Okay. Got it.
So they decided because Teddy wasn't doing the show anymore, I'm going to be introduced with Kathy. But the original, it was always Teddy.
And what happened to Teddy? Why wasn't she doing the show?
They let her go.
She just wasn't asked back that season?
They weren't asked back that season.
Okay.
So I remember it was like the week that they were going to tell us. So there was 2 other women.
So you were replacing Teddy that season?
But
we don't want to say
no one
it
replaces
like that.
anybody.
Well,
you know that.
You filled in.
You know that. That's going to trigger her.
Well, it's not, but it's the truth. No, Teddy, like, I mean, if anybody can
talk about it. Yes, okay,
talk
fine,
about it. It's
fine.
Teddy.
So what happened was,
so you filled in
yes.
for Teddy left.
Yes,
and then you.
That's right. So I'm going to give
that
a very
empty slot that was left available.
That's right.
That was Teddy.
But you never, yes,
slot.
whatever
okay,
it was. I'm going to give her Teddy her flowers right now.
She was not replaced. Teddy was not replaced.
No one's replaceable. Everyone is individual.
Right.
But
Teddy's not replaceable.
I'm pre-Housewives now. I'm back to being nice. So like literally I saw online Teddy did a video that she's not coming back. So I sent it to Rob and goes, well, now you can be relieved because you're not going to get the show because you were going to come on with Teddy. So I remember feeling like mixed feelings like, oh, okay, I've been going through this for 8 months, but also like, that was a crazy 8 months that I just went through all
And she was the one person you knew.
Well, she brought me on.
Well, she brought you on.
Yeah.
Right.
So then the next day, I'm getting a text, can you jump on that Zoom when they told me I was it? And I remember it was like, oh, this is where they let me go. Like, thank you for your services. Right. And so
this is where you get fired before you even get hired.
That's right. So I was like in shock because I was like, what happened?
Right.
And I was like, I thought I was coming on with Teddy.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, this is what their line, I'll never forget. They said, Teddy had her time. That was what they said to me. I was like, okay. And they said, we hope you'll accept your new time. And I was like, I don't think that's right for me. I just really felt terrible about it. And I said, I'll let you know soon. It's like, you need to let us know the next like weekend, like this week. Right. Because we need to move on then. I was like, okay. So then I happened to see Teddy that week we did a dance class for the kids. And I walked in and we both just started crying.
Oh my God.
It was very intense. And I just said, I don't know what to do. And she was so great. She was like, you need to do it without me. Like, you just go. And I was like, okay. And we weren't close at all. But like this kind of process.
But Teddy understands the business of the show.
She does.
Which is why she has
So she was lovely about it. I did it. And so that's what happened. And so it was very odd because it was like, obviously I knew Kathy well before I knew Teddy, but my story on the show was through Kathy, and I wanted to say Teddy, but that's not how the show works. Like you just move on and whatever. So
and this is why this is great, because now you can say what really happened.
That's what really happened.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing Teddy one time talking about it. Like, everyone says it's Kathy. It was really me. And like, I remember feeling weird at the time because I was like, oh, well, the network wanted me to say it was Kathy. And Kathy and I were friends, but like,
you were introduced with Kathy, but you actually.
So I had to, like you said,
was with Teddy.
Yeah.
But,
so it's like not breaking the fourth wall. It's like, I have to follow that story. Right. But I have always told the story.
And how great is breaking the fourth wall now? Because we can break it all the time. Like,
it
we
needs
literally,
to happen.
It has to, because there's so much stuff. Like, the viewers that watch the show are so confused by so many missing pieces.
But they're also so smart. So they know the missing
pieces.
They're
like, no, something had to happen.
That's right.
Because Cynthia was totally normal in the last scene, and now she's like pissed off. But what pissed her off? Like, what was the energy?
And I actually, like,
change?
I give grace to production, because it's also like, we film, for every 30 hours we film, 8 minutes gets on screen, right? Mm-hmm. So like, they can only fill so many gaps that don't make sense. But it's so hard, as like, when you sit and watch it, right? I don't know about you. We get it 2 days prior, the episode.
We get it like
I'm like, Rob, watch. Like, I had a process because it was so stressful. I would watch alone. I immediately get it. I put my headphones and I watched in bed quietly. And I'm like, and then he's like, kind of looking, like, don't look at me. Don't look at this. Don't look at the camera. I like, don't look at the, my phone. And then I would hand it to him alone. I didn't want to see his reaction.
So you would view it, and then he would view it.
Yeah.
And then you guys would talk about it.
Yes. So I would watch it and I'd be like, okay. And like, I know like this is coming to resolve whatever made me look bad. And then it would be like gone. Like, it would just skip over, and it would be like another scene. I was like, oh, they're not airing it. Oh,
is that like the best?
And I'm literally like, I want to just like post something like, this is what you guys missed.
Right.
But then Rob would just be like watching it laughing. Why are you laughing at it? He goes like, it's just funny. It's entertainment. Who cares? Like, who cares about the gaps?
Have you ever called production and asked them to take something out?
Never. Because I just accept it.
Yeah.
And I'm married to someone who deals with actors who like want more screen time and whatever. And he's like, this is his vision.
Right.
And when you sign the dotted line, that's their vision.
Right.
And I've accepted it.
I think I was
good like that.
All those years, I think one time I called and asked them to take something out. But it was nothing to do with me. It was something maybe to do with
someone
Noelle.
Else. Oh, okay.
Who I like,
you have to
fiercely protected.
Of course.
As much as I could the whole time.
I had told them to take out stuff from other people that I thought was damaging.
Right.
And the response was always, this is what they did. This was their choice. This has nothing to do with you. And I would say, you need to take this out because this is not good for them.
And then that brings me
and then they make me look bad.
Yeah, but see, this is the other part of it, how careful we have to be with who we bring on the show.
That's right.
Because for us, our producers are always like, hey, well, why don't you bring so-and-so to film with you? Why don't you bring her to the event? And I'm like, I literally have to tell my friends, like, listen, if you want to come to this party, because everyone's like, oh, I want to go. Just know anything that if you, for some reason, decide to corner up and start talking to some of the cast members and start saying something crazy, it could very well be filmed on it could be used in the show.
Yes.
So I can't protect you. If you stay up under me and don't say anything except eat the crab cakes and drink the margaritas, you're good. But if you like start being chatty patty, you could get, you could get
I
caught
dealt
up.
with one girlfriend, and she was so stressed from filming that we waited on like till it aired. I was like, I cannot tell you if they're going to air it. And she's like, I said some stuff about someone on the show that she knew. And it was like, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And she was so upset. She was upset for like 8 months. And I'm like, I felt so bad because she doesn't get to benefit from the show.
Right.
It's just, she was just so scared and then they skipped that scene.
Right.
And it was like the best relief. And it was like, oh my gosh, she's like, I've learned my lesson. I can never do that again. But I was like, I literally, like, I swear to God, if I mention it to them, they'll use it.
Right.
Like, I'm like,
so you almost can't even like You just hope they just somehow graze
like,
over it and don't even like.
She's like,
but you know
please tell them. I was like,
no,
they don't give a
because then
shit
put it
about
then
you.
you'll put it on the radar.
That's right.
But I will say for the most part, because I would worry about things like that as well. For the most part, after 11 years, like I was pretty lucky because a lot of times, if it didn't really make sense with the story, it just wasn't in there because it just wasn't enough time to put everything in there. But
you learn that later, though.
Yeah.
You don't know that that's how it works, but you learn that. Yeah, you learn that.
Yeah,
like,
but you still stress out over it because you just don't
Totally.
know. Because sometimes you could watch a scene and like they'll just put the most random little part in there. You're like,
I know.
that had nothing to even do with anything.
I know. I know.
Do that?
But I was saying how I realized the shows are very different was that, and I'm curious about Atlanta. Do they reimburse you when you like had a party?
Okay, so if I did an all cast, sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, but I wouldn't say reimburse me fully. Like sometimes they would say, okay, we want you to do an all cast or we want you to do an extra event. Because I was really known for like, I somehow liked doing events. I don't know why
you were the event person.
I put that pressure on myself.
Yeah.
But they'd be like, hey,
I was an event
nothing's
person
happening.
Too. Yeah.
This is like boring. We need to get the people together. That's actually how the Bailey Q was invented. Like anytime we wanted to get the mess going in every season, I would do a Bailey Q.
Okay.
Absolutely. And if they needed, like they would say, okay, so in your contract, you have to do at least one main event. And if I did any extra ones,
that was in your contract?
Yeah, we have to all do. If you're a housewife, you have to at least do one for sure.
That is not in our contract.
Okay, maybe it's not in the contract per se, but it's expected of us to do
that's
at least
expected.
one.
We all host one event.
Yeah, at least one. Now, if I do anything more than one event, then I can say, all right, well, you guys need this event. And I already did my event.
So they host it for you?
No, of course not. But they may, kick me some money over to like,
I see,
pay for.
But let's say you have like
the expenses of
you
it.
have Nene over like for drinks.
Yeah.
Do you give the receipts for that?
No.
Okay, so I found out that Orange County does.
Oh wow.
So like they
Why?
literally
but do they make like less money or something? Because we.
I don't know.
After first season, we do pretty well in Atlanta.
After first
we
season?
used to. Oh, first season is like
girl, it's all relative.
Literally like nothing. And then after first season, like my second season,
you did well
compared to what I got first season. Like I got a real check for sure,
like double,
and then
triple, quadruple.
Okay, I got nothing basically. Yeah. So like it was definitely
nothing. Like dire.
Well, I was like clocked in at that point. I was like, oh, I'm gonna figure this housewife thing out.
Okay,
it was
you were at a 1, and then did you go to 2 or 5?
I was at a 3.5
by season 2.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not how we.
But it was so low. You got to remember.
Yeah. Okay.
The jump was like very substantial.
No, mine was not. No.
And so I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
I found that out. My first season was like Orange County, and this is based on like what someone said it on a podcast. Like they get to submit receipts for like, oh, if you come over and like a cheese platter.
They don't pay them anything, so.
I know, but like, I want to
get paid a lot of money and pay for my own cheese platter.
But we don't get paid a lot, and I pay for the cheese. So they don't have to host a party. And like, my first season, I hosted the Chinese New Year event. I hosted the finale. They gave me some for sure.
Oh, wow. Your first season, you hosted the finale?
Yes.
That's big for a newbie.
I did
even
Chinese
a
New
trip.
Year. It was the best.
I know.
I've never.
But what I'm saying is
hosted
that's big for like, because when because I have to go back and watch your episodes now.
Yeah.
And see how you were. That's our homework.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
But like a housewife giving a trip their first season is a huge big deal.
Okay.
And a housewife hosting the finale is a huge big deal. And then, of course, I think you guys already figured out sitting next to Andy at the reunion is a big deal.
It's a big deal. Yeah, you don't want to be
going on. You kind of don't want to be next to Andy.
You don't want to be close to Andy.
I'm very proud to say that I never sat next to Andy Coyne at a reunion, and we laugh about it all the time because I was like, if I end up next to Andy, I know that I'm screwed because I have done the most the whole season.
Seating next to Andy is like very scary. Like I wouldn't want that, but I already know it's like not, because my show was like, it was always the same people. But yeah, so like I know that
Wait, you didn't tell me your cast though when you first came on first season. It was you.
So Kathy and I joined together.
You and Kathy.
Sutton and Garcelle were there they had only been there 1 year together.
Okay.
So they were like connected because they started together.
Yep.
And it was Kyle, Dorit, Erica,
and
Rinna.
Lisa. Okay.
It was a huge cast.
Oh, wow.
My theory, it was 10 people total. Oh, and then we had Cherie.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, as a friend.
Oh, that was okay. I know Cherie.
So
okay.
I think that we had a huge cast because it was COVID.
Right.
Because you couldn't add public. So they needed to fill physical space. So
That's a
I
good
think
theory.
they decided to have a lot of people, and then
Yeah,
as
that
you
makes
go,
sense.
they usually like 6 people, 6 to 7. That's like ideal. But we had 10,
Yeah.
and it just kind of stayed big for a long time.
Okay.
But like, the whole thing was just so fucking
I think
scary.
when I first came on season 3 of Atlanta Housewives, it was me,
You guys were major.
Phaedra, Nene, Sheree, Candy. I don't think Kenya and Portia came until the next season.
I was like, those are they're all stars. Everyone
Yeah.
is like a star.
Oh yeah.
For not watching Atlanta,
Yeah. Who am I missing?
They're
I
all
think they're gonna kill
stars.
me if I skip
someone will
someone.
kill you. You're gonna get in trouble right now.
I know. I'm not even trying to be shady. Like it's me, Phaedra, Sheree, Candy. Oh, Kim Zolciak. Hello, Kim. Kim was on it. Kim was a part of. She was one of the original OGs.
Are you friends with Kim now?
You know what? Kim and I just recently did a reality show together.
Oh.
And we had the best time.
Okay,
we were
that's
actually roommates. And
I love that.
what I loved about that is we were never close on Atlanta Housewives.
Yeah.
So I was a little nervous about when I heard she's going to be on the show. I was like, oh, shoot, okay, this is going to be hard. Because I always wanted, at some point to, have a dinner with her.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
just
yeah.
be like, hey, girl,
Yeah.
I've always loved you for the show, whatever. And that opportunity just never happened. So when we were stuck together in this other reality TV situation that I can't really talk about right now, long story
Which
short.
we will one day.
Which we will, of course. We'll talk about it. And then we were not only in it together, we were roommates, and we just had the best time. Like, I really actually really like him a lot.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, I would go to dinner. I would actually ask her to dinner,
I just see a lot of
and actually
drama
want
with
her to go with me.
online.
What's that?
The TMZ world talks about her a lot. There's always like a lot of
drama.
drama.
She has a lot going on. She's like a lot of that stuff that, they always embellish stuff, but for the most part, like, she definitely shared with me, like,
there's a lot
she's
going on
through it. Yeah.
I'm very curious about the whole other reality show world. It's
what do
funny.
you mean? Oh, you haven't done any other reality shows?
No.
Okay, what do you want to do? Which ones do you want to do?
Okay, so if I had top right now would be Traitors.
Oh, for sure. I'm dying to do Traitors.
They should bring us together.
I know. Let's just put that out into the universe.
Yes,
we want to do Traitors together.
I think that.
Okay, do you want to be a traitor? Or do you
No.
want to be what is it, honorable? No, innocent or
A faithful.
Oh, faithful. Same thing. An innocent.
I think that I'd be really good. I actually think I'd be a great traitor
I
because
do too.
I'm very earnest and I could pretend to be earnest. Kill him with kindness.
Yes.
And I don't think anyone think that I would be super ruthless. I don't even know if I could. My friends all say I could not be a traitor. They said I'd be a great faithful.
No, okay, wait. I got to ask you a question. I got to ask you. So pretend we're on the show.
But
and I
have
see you.
the same
No.
stupid face.
No. You
all
got to look
the
at me.
time.
You got to look at me.
Okay.
Crystal,
What?
you were like really late for breakfast this morning. And I noticed your energy's been a little bit off.
I have diarrhea.
No, I'm serious. Are you a traitor?
No. I would tell you.
Would you tell me?
Yes, I would. You know me.
You would tell me if you
I
were a traitor.
100%.
We have a whole podcast together. Would you tell me if you're a traitor?
I would.
I don't believe this.
Wait, please don't use this.
She's a traitor.
Don't use this.
She's a traitor.
Fuck. Wait.
That was like her eye. The left eye did something weird. The left eye, like it was like a half blink.
That's
Traitor!
racist. That's racist.
Traitor.
By the way, okay, I would do Traitors
Traitors.
because I love it.
Yep.
And my friends are like, you should do Traitors. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. So like, I don't watch that much TV, which is ironic. But
Well, I would want to be a villain, not a villain, a traitor as well.
villain. It's a
Right.
villains are
Well, yeah,
traitors.
exactly.
Okay,
I would want to be a traitor too.
It's so good. And what I love about the show is like, I'm obviously only 2 seasons, like, and I haven't watched the other like countries.
Phaedra killed it on there.
Oh, she's incredible.
Like I was obsessed
she's
with her on the show.
so good.
She was
But
so
like
good.
that, there's so many twists and turns that you just like. There's so much evilness and game playing and all. I just love it. And I think Sheree is like so sweet. Like
yes.
poor
yes.
thing. I mean, I'm Sheree. I feel like
know.
I'm Sheree. Like she's
Yeah.
she's super earnest. Second reality show, and I would not say any other show because I don't watch reality shows, but the only other show would be Amazing Race. Because I'm a super traveler and I'm watching it with the kids now. And like I would crush like I know how to do Amazing Race. I could do it. And then I started
Okay.
looking up like the pay for it. Like how much would I have to like, and it's literally,
And how long
they
do
get
you be,
$1,000
$1,000
for
flat?
what? Yeah.
Wait.
To be on the show. You can win $1 million, but it's $1,000 if you do
To
the show.
sign to go in to do the show, you get
yes.
$1,000.
And it's between 3 and 4 weeks of shooting because they think it's like you get like all the perks of
But you
traveling.
can win like
$1 million.
okay.
And like second place gets like 10,000. Something like it's like nonsense for like how
Okay.
long you're away. But I almost would do it. Like, I just want to do it because I loved, like, Rob and I did a 2-month honeymoon around the world.
Oh, wow.
Like, we
love
ran
that.
around the world. So,
Okay,
like,
on another episode, I
yeah.
have to
So
ask you, where'd
those
you
are
guys
the-
go?
yeah.
Would you do Big Brother?
I've never seen it.
Okay, you got to
But
watch
that's in
it.
a house, right?
Yes.
I guess Traitors is in a house.
Well, it's
But you
like
know
a
what it-
pretend house. It's like a lot. It's basically a lot.
But based on what I see, it looks like
CBS lot.
but it looks like Truman Show,
Mm-hmm.
which scares me. Like,
Why does it scare you?
there's something about the way it's filmed that's like, it feels like voyeuristic as opposed to Traitors, which is like you're in the
like an
house
old castle.
for a reason. Like, the house has its own character. Like, I don't know. Like, and it looks more beautiful and it's like plushier furniture.
Brightly colored walls with the
I don't like
IKEA bunk beds.
Yeah, the aesthetic
spread
I don't
out,
like. It
and
looks,
the colorful pillows
it
freak
looks
you out.
cheap. You know me and aesthetics.
Okay, I will say this.
You've
because
got
I
to know-
lived there for like almost 2 months for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm trying to remember how many days I lived on the lot.
2 months?
Yeah, because I did it right
I cannot do
right
that.
during COVID as well. So we had to, well, first of all, we had to quarantine at a hotel for like 15 days. And then we went straight into the Big Brother
No,
house.
I can't.
And I was there for like 30, 40 days.
And it's all brightly lit, right? And like
always.
and like
And they
primary
only turn
colors.
off the lights when everybody goes to sleep.
You know, I can't.
So
do
that's
that.
why you always see people with the sleep mask on.
No.
And then we had like it was like almost being in like a bright prison, like a colorful prison, like it was. And then we had like a little yard
That's what I feel
area.
about Housewives, by the way.
I know, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we had like a yard area, but like they had to tarp it off because people, like the Big Brother fans, are so obsessed with the show. They would fly
Like
Zooms
drones?
over. Not Zooms.
Drones?
Drones.
What are
over.
Zooms?
I don't know. Because we keep talking about Zooms. Drones.
Yes,
over
drones.
to like
Right, to see what's
us,
going on.
To like they were really that.
Yeah, so it feels
Into it. So
like
we had
Big Brother,
no
like
sun.
it feels like a bubble.
It is.
Yeah, like no natural daylight. Like
No.
I can't deal with that. Like, sleep is a big thing for me.
Oh, I don't know. Well, you know what? I think
Yeah.
at some point you're
That's
so
why I hate cast trips.
you
That's
get
why-
so bored and tired just
Yeah.
waiting to do the whatever the
active- whatever,
competition
yeah.
is, that like when you can sleep, like, and you have no way to decompress, you have no outlet, you have nothing to read, you can't take a book, you can't take a journal, you can't take
Why
anything,
don't they let you have a book?
because then you could
Dive into it?
escape in your mind and not be stressed out and
Yeah, yeah.
crazy living with 20 other people or whatever
I
it
was
is.
just with someone last week who did season 3 of Traitors, and it's not out yet. And they said it was so hard. It was
Oh,
like
wow.
very isolating. They said that they're happy
Could they have
did
books?
it. No, they said it's like
Because we couldn't have
it's
phones,
like torture.
TV, nothing. Like
I don't
do
think people
nothing.
realize on reality shows, like, that's cast trips. It is. I mean, you get books, and stuff,
No.
but you're not reading.
Mm-mm.
It's
You
worse?
can't compare it to a cast trip. No.
Is it worse?
Big Brother, like you
Oh, I
literally
can't do it then.
do not have anything. Like I was in there for Valentine's Day. I was in there for my birthday. Like,
Do they celebrate your birthday?
well, we had a very pitiful, sad celebration with like me, Todd Bridges, Lamar Odom, and Todrick, and Misha was the only one left. And basically because no one goes, like, literally, if you torch the house, no one's coming in there to save you. Like, no one, we never see another person. Only the people that we go in with.
What about production?
We never see anyone except the people in the house. No one comes in the house
What?
ever.
It's like Squid
We
Games.
never see another person. Yes.
By the way, that's what Rob calls Housewives: Squid Games and high heels.
Yeah.
That's how he describes the
Pretty
show.
accurate. So anyway,
Okay,
like, it's like
that's crazy.
it's hard to explain it because first of all, I went into it thinking I would be the first to go.
Yeah.
And my only goal was to not be the first to go.
Yeah.
Like I was fine with being the
Of
second to
course,
go.
of
Because at that point,
That's
like
always
I had my upfront money.
Who was
Okay,
first?
if I could do Teddy was first.
a shocker.
But only because only because she was actually a threat.
She is. She's
Like
a
Teddy
gamer.
is very much a gamer.
Yeah, she's a gamer.
She's actually strong. I remember our first competition, we had to like hang
No,
on to
Teddy's a beast.
this
She like
thing in the
runs every
air.
morning at like 4.
No,
Very tough.
Crystal, we're like hanging on. We like rope our hands into these ropes, and then they lift us up in the air, and you have to hold on whoever can hold on the longest.
So you
Of
are
course,
aware,
I was like the second to drop.
but
Like,
you're
as soon
aware
as I
that
got
you're
up there, I
going for
dropped.
like a physical game, like Big Brother's
I
physical.
actually didn't know that it was going to be that physical. Teddy literally, like her arms were like this. She hung on to the end, like, and they were like, "She's got to go because she's good."
Oh, she
She was
held
a
on to
threat.
the end,
Yeah,
and then
my-
they got rid of her.
My only superpower is that I'm not a threat ever. in any situation that I've ever gone into on TV. And I go far in competitions because I don't win anything. No one's ever worried about me. And I'm actually a pretty good cook. And we can talk about the whole cooking thing later. So I cooked and I like a clean space. So I cleaned.
Okay,
I basically cooked and cleaned my way through
Beverly Hills.
What's that?
I'm the Cynthia Beverly Hills.
Basically,
I would cook and clean my way through everything.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not threatening.
Teddy was like, she was going to win. If we didn't get her out, she was going to win. Of course, and I voted. I was like maybe the only person that voted for Teddy, which is why we're bonded for life. Because she literally was like, do I have your vote? And I was like, absolutely. And of course, everyone's like, don't vote for Teddy. And I was like, but I already told her I was going to vote for her.
So why do they all want her out?
I'm like very loyal. If you have my vote.
That's right. They didn't need anything.
Yep.
So they wanted her out because.
She was good. She had a very high chance of winning.
Right. So you got to act like
you got to get the people that could actually win out. You got to start getting them out right away.
Okay. On Traitors, I watched Trishelle say it. We're talking about Traitors. It's so random. But I watched the reunion and she was saying her plan was lay low first half and then ramp it up. So maybe that's the way to go. Don't let anyone know how good you are. Chill.
So my plan was with Big Brother was to go in and not join any alliances.
Okay.
Carson Kressley was the first person in the house. I walked in second. And literally, as soon as my foot stepped in the door,
you were like that.
Carson said, do you want to be in an alliance? And I was like, yes. I was like, shit, I'm already in an alliance. And I don't even know who the cast is.
What are you going to say, no?
And we were together like this until the end. But I pretty much and I didn't even know how it worked. I didn't even think, I went in, I'm always the girl I probably won't even get chosen to be in an alliance.
Right.
I didn't think anyone was going to pick me. And then I got
how far did you go?
I was final 3.
Oh, really?
I almost won. And I never won a competition.
What do you win? Money?
Yes.
A lot?
Yes.
Who won?
This boxer girl, Misha Tate. I would actually do it again.
You would?
I would do it again because they do it in other countries. I would go somewhere else and do it.
All right.
I would, because now I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit.
Okay.
And maybe I'll actually
They should bring back Amazing Race, reality stuff. Then I would do that.
Yeah. Okay. I love your collar pop. It's like a half collar pop.
I'm a very...
Went up, went down.
Okay. This is my uniform. I wear a collared shirt and a short or a pant nearly every day. It's a thing. It's a little bit boring. I really don't care because I'm like, this is a uniform and I love it. I know it works for me.
It's not boring. It's very simple, but very chic.
Thank you.
And I feel like you could go into the evening.
I could.
In a way. I'm sure you have a nice pair of heels in the car.
Like a little boot, a little heel.
And, yep. Yeah. You could totally jazz this up.
That's the thing with LA is you have to in a mom life, right? I am not interested in fully getting ready. And I get some of my friends, they're more homebodies. So they always need to get dressed up. They're and they get really excited about it.
But this is dressed, for me, this is kind of dressed up.
Oh yeah, I would definitely go out to dinner like this. I want to always be casual, but I actually wear.
But cute, casual, chic, comfy.
Yeah, but if I'm out. No, I'm telling you, if I'm casual, I wear my pajamas every day to the bus stop.
Well, I want to be comfortable. I won't be uncomfortable.
Pajamas, no bra.
Yeah. No bra?
No bra. Real comfortable.
You don't have a bra?
No, at the bus stop.
Oh, at the bus stop.
No, I'm wearing a bra for you.
Okay, got it.
Girl, you don't want to, no. You don't want to see
After a bra's not an option for me. I have
8
to wear
a.m.
one.
I put a bra on. But before then, I'm not interested in it. That's the whole,
I'm not interested in my bras either, for sure.
I hate a bra.
But yeah.
Those commercials.
First thing I rip off, I think I take my wig off first and then my bra second.
I actually have a question about that.
Oh, wig time. Let's go.
So, okay.
Well, first of all, so many people, I was coming out of my hotel and I step in the elevator and this lady goes, your hair is just gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
It must have taken you forever to grow it out. I'm like, girl, this is a wig. Stop playing in my face.
Okay, so
seriously.
Before,
but people don't know.
Okay,
it's a good
so
wig,
I call it BS, right? BC's before show, right? After show. I literally a little 30-second clip. I'm from LA. I was born here. I went to school with celebrity kids. My kids go to celebrity kids. Just because that happens, you still don't know anything about celebrity Hollywood life. You only know about it if you're in it. Other than that, it's sort of adjacent. It's around. But I had friends who were on like Seventh Heaven filming it growing up, that
Mhm.
show. And like they would leave to film and come back. Like you don't know that though. Like it's very outside of mind. So like everything is like over the top. And I didn't know about extensions. I didn't know about lash extensions. I didn't know anything.
Right.
The whole point of saying it was like growing up here, it's like you still don't know that. You don't know that people did that. You don't like I literally have gone to so many galas and like events. I never put on a fake lash.
Right.
I didn't do any of that. I just like washed my hair. Like you just put on a dress. And I don't know if it's social media, but like everyone's elevated to a level where they're just like, they look like characters, right?
Right.
So like I walk in and everyone has extensions and da-da. And then I remember Garcelle saying to me my third day, she goes, are you going to start doing makeup? Or you're not going to like this, like what you're doing. She was like it wasn't shade, it was being like helpful.
She was helping
like,
you.
You're not going to like this. I'm like, I'm fine.
I mean, you look beautiful without makeup on, but on HD TV,
she said,
it's like a lash, maybe a little color on the cheek.
Right. She was like, this is cute.
Concealer.
But like, you're not going to like this. I was like, okay. And then you watched later. I was like, I look simple, but I actually genuinely didn't care. And she knows that now. But like, I get that. So like, I didn't realize how many people wore wigs. I had no idea.
No,
and
it's a thing.
And it's obviously like
it's a thing.
Wig culture is a thing.
It's a whole thing.
So like, I'm very curious about it. No, I've never talked about
All right, so what do you want me to do? You want me to take it off?
No,
what
I
do you
want to
want
take it off. Okay, well, I do kind of want you to take it off. But hold on. I'm curious about your hairline. Where does it start? This is okay. I made cocktails, so now I'm like very bold.
All right, so my hairline starts exactly
because that's your hair
where the wig is. Like this is
this
a full
line.
Wig. Okay, so
is that your hair? Oh my! Are you
okay,
really?
I'm gonna lift it up so you can see. Okay, because I don't do there's levels.
This is happening.
There's levels
God.
to wigs. Okay. Like some can be glued, and then there's the ones that are like
before you do this
and partials, and with the baby hairs. I don't do baby hairs.
Okay, before you do this, wait, I need a little preparation.
Okay,
is the scalp line real or fake?
This one that you're looking at is fake.
No, is it really? Oh my God,
it is totally fake.
I've never known that.
Yes, my hair is literally in a ponytail, a little tiny ponytail underneath here.
That is fake.
It's fake. It's a wig. It's a wig.
See, I've always wondered how wig. Okay, show me now.
Okay, so I'm gonna lift it up because I don't glue it down.
I'm like watching a movie right now.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I'm not. If you loved hearing us talk,
we'll be here every Monday, everywhere you listen to your podcast.